Hi guys, can you see me waving? Did you tell them they're on Lugcast? Which one's Lyle and which one's Taj?
The one on the Taj.
Lyle on the left.
Lyle.
Okay.
Taj.
Cool.
All right. Welcome to episode 256 of the LinuxLUGcast. We're an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone listening to join us and participate on the podcast. Check out LinuxLUGcast.com for the server details. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during this show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. We also have a Lemmy group. We have a Matrix group where you can join and talk. Links in the show notes to our Jitsi, our YouTube channel, and our Peertube channel, because there is also a video version of this. So if you're listening to us and you want to see these happy shining faces, you can go to either YouTube or Peertube, and the links for those are in the show notes and on the website. I am your host of this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight is Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Hello, everybody.
Minnix.
Hola.
Morton C.
Hello from Ohio Linux Fest.
Netminer.
Hello, folks.
And Courier.
Hello.
All right. So, we usually start off with projects that people have been working on and whatnot. So I know Danny and I have been trying to set up just somewhere. We had talked about on the last show about ways in the past we had used archive.org to host the audio files, but archive.org shut down for a while and then came back up as only read-only. So we needed somewhere else to host the files. I've got a semi solution running, which is basically just they're hosted in a spot. I use a Python script to make them available. I gave it a DNS and SSL cert, and I'm pointing to it right now. It's not fantastic because the Word PowerPress doesn't like it automatically, but it will. It does take it eventually. I mean, it's not like automatically agrees with it, but it does eventually agree with it, and then it's just available. We were discussing the possibility of having the audio files hosted in two different spots and using a load balancer for the audio files, so that way whoever has the better bandwidth. Actually, we'd have to discuss how we wanted to set up the load balancing, and then how we want to do it. Really, I mean, we talked about the idea about load balancing. We got to figure out where we want to host the load balancing server, and then how exactly we want to set that up.
I think the Lugcast lab would be a good spot for the load balancer, and then hosting the files locally. Did that work? The where I just set up a little nginx web server and
Yep.
Did it complain?
No, not at all. I responded to you in Matrix, didn't I?
No,
I did, at least. Yeah, of course I did.
because I was gonna send you my conf, because it was real simple. Maybe I did post it already. Did I post it in there? It was real short. Oh yeah, it's there.
Yeah, I responded.
Yeah, just use that nginx conf, and I think I gave it. Hang on, I think it's still running, or did I delete it? No, there it is. It's got it's using 32 megabytes of RAM is how much I gave it, and then I gave it 2 gigabytes of storage and a Linux container, and currently it's using 9 megabytes of RAM and 431 megabytes of storage. It's just a Debian LXC, and then I installed nginx via the repos, and then I just wrote that little conf and threw it in there, nginx conf, and then I made a little folder called files within the web server root folder, and just gave it nginx permissions, and everything I throw in there will show up on the web, on that web page. Can't remember what the web page is called, but and it's super easy, super short, super small.
It's using 9 gigs of RAM?
No, 9 megabytes of RAM.
Oh, megabytes. All right. Whew. That makes a lot more sense because he threw 32 at it. I'm like, why are you throwing 32 at this?
32 megabytes.
Oh, all right. I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
Yeah, come on, man, get with it. And it doesn't even need that much. Like the whole container is only using 9 megabytes of RAM. That's including nginx running.
That's nice and light, but for some reason I heard 32 gigs too.
Yeah.
Did you really? Maybe I did say that. Maybe I'm.
Or maybe I was just...
No. He said megs.
I thought I did.
Yeah, I think Honky Magoo sounded surprised, and that made me like retroactively assume that it was gigabytes, no matter what I heard.
Right. My fault.
Yeah.
Under the
So
bus.
I think if you have 16 megabytes of free RAM, you should be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm running it on one of like my a single board computer right now, and that was with that Python script.
So I was gonna run it on that little Radshaw Zero I got, and that has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it's got plenty of horsepower. And I would just kind of connect a SSD to the USB-C port, and that'll be the little hosting server for it. And it's just running the web server. I think it'd be fine as far as storage goes. I've got like a 2 terabyte SSD I can hook up to it. I think that's one of my bigger ones. And that should hold years worth of shows, I'm guessing.
Terabyte? A lot more than that, buddy.
Yeah.
So the raw audio is usually, the WAV file is usually just about 2 gigs.
Yeah.
The processed audio files, the OGG and the MP3, are usually about 90 megabytes.
Oh yeah, so that's plenty. I could get away with a lot smaller hard drive.
So you're saying everything will fit in a terabyte?
Probably.
Oh, for sure.
So what we got to figure out now is 2 things. We got to figure out the load balancing server, and we got to figure out probably like an we're talking about before the show about SFTP scripting. We should probably set up a FTP scripting so I can add it to my audio editing script. So once that thing runs through, it'll just kick it to I'll kick it to both my server with the audio files, and then off to your server, so it has it in both spots as soon as it's done.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just some kind of script to where it detects the file, or as soon as it's processing, it just sends it out.
Yeah,
we could just use keys,
right?
Public and private keys, and that way we don't have to worry about hacking or trying to fit a password in there or anything like that. And
right.
I just send you the keys to the little Radshaw Zero server, and it'll be there. So I think that part's pretty easy. The load balancing, I just don't know enough about Linux load balancing.
So I found you know what, let me see if I can put it in the show notes. I really haven't much of a chance to sit down and look at it, but nginx I guess through and docs.nginx has a whole thing about HTTP load balancing.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this.
Well,
Different
I
ways
know
you can load balance with nginx.
Yeah,
I
in
know
nginx you can put weights on the upstreams. So
Right.
that
Yeah,
I
the
know
last
that you-
show we talked. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
I know that you guys are talking about having it set up on each one of our computers, and then us each providing the file, and then using the load balancing to take care of who's providing the file when. Is there a way that you could put this all into a Docker instance and then just ship it off to all of us, and then we don't have to worry about each individual setup? We only have to get Docker set up. And
Well, see, I don't think
So wouldn't
we're-
that be a Docker swarm then?
Well,
And
no, it's
I think that is.
all that we're hosting locally is just the nginx web server, and because it's just going to be a place to pull the file from. But we were talking about having a central load balancer that's connected to all of our web servers, so that it can detect, who's down, who has the highest bandwidth, stuff like that. And then, but what we individually host locally will just be nginx, just a little web server. And I just installed it via Debian repos, and then I put the conf file in the Lugcast element. I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, I was just thinking it'd be easier if you did the setup once with Docker and then shipped it off to all of us.
So here's my. I think Docker would probably make it even more complicated, to be honest. So install nginx, and then the file itself just looks like this. I'll put it in the show notes. Man, my color is terrible. I'll change it. Yes.
You should get some sun.
There we go. Oh no, it needs to be lighter. There we go. Now you can see it. Okay. Install nginx. And then the file goes. What the fuck? I'm getting disconnected from the notepad. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so that's working.
Well, now that the fight's about to start, I keep getting disconnected.
Me too. Oh, there's Jerry Jones.
Everybody's tuning it in.
Yeah. It keeps knocking us out. I keep having to hit back and then play again.
Is it squelching the mumble server or Jitsi or both?
No, neither. It's the Netflix.
Oh.
I can't edit the Etherpad. Honky.
Did you try refreshing the page?
Let me try that. Oh, what happened to everything I wrote? Just disappeared.
Yeah, sometimes if there's a problem with the Etherpad or whatever, then if everything you did during that time when it was having problems will just kind of disappear.
Okay, so can you see me typing?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so maybe it'll work. Info. Okay. Install nginx. I'm just going to copy what I put in the matrix. Copy.
Yeah, Mike Tyson might be 58 years old, but he's looking pretty jacked.
Yeah, this will be interesting. Man, imagine if nobody could watch the fight because it just went out. How many people would be pissed? Man, that would be huge. Okay, there we go. And that's all there is to it. And then okay. Then a proxy port 80 through npm. That'll be the most complicated part, is the proxy part. There we go. So that's what I did right there. And I think it's still running. Let's see. file-server.minnix.dev. Damn. Yeah, it's there. file-server.minnix.dev, and it's just the index page, and you can see the files right there.
Now, when I sent you the raw file for 253,
Yeah,
which one did you grab?
the second one, because you said that's the one you should have posted first,
Right.
and that did fine. Your
And that's
internet is super slow though.
I might be, and that might have been why I get the trouble every once in a while. Is because it's slower. Well, I wonder if it's that, or if it's just the. So that's running on PC Arduino 2. It is it may have a gig of RAM, but I don't think it has a gig Ethernet port on it.
Oh, okay. Maybe 500 mega or 100 megabit.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah, I bet that has something to do with it.
Probably.
Uh,
I could probably switch to something else.
So that'd be 12.5 megabytes. But I was getting about 100 kilobytes down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it took a while.
All right. Maybe I'll swap some stuff up here.
But yeah, I had completely forgot that nginx is a perfectly capable load balancer. And I forgot that we talked about all this on the last show too. So that would be the next. Okay, so it says proxying HTTP traffic to a group of servers. Oh, this is the nginx Plus site. Is that what they changed the name to?
I don't know. It just says nginx docs.
It says to start using nginx Plus or nginx open source. Damn, Netflix is just stopping and starting constantly.
I'm running on my phone. I don't have any problem.
Really?
I put it on just because you guys kept on talking about it. Granted, now it's just people talking, which isn't cool.
Okay, so
well, they're prepping for the next fight.
Yeah,
Hey.
they show you how to add the weights. Like they have different server names on the upstream.
Well, there's you have to choose the different load balancing methods.
Okay.
So there's
round
robin.
Okay. Yeah, this is what we
round
talked
robin.
about.
These connections, IP hash, generic hash.
So we would want something like least
time.
connections or least time. So lowest latency would give us the fastest server, and then least connections would be the server that the fewest people are pulling from. Fucking Netflix, man. What's wrong with this thing? Now it's frozen on 99%. Better not start. Oh, now it rebooted. Wow.
It's got to be a Texas thing, man. Because I don't have any problems.
Yeah, it must be their load balancer isn't working correct.
Should we do like a least time? Or least time, or which one is best connection?
I
These
think,
connections?
well, see, Joe had brought up before about you know, if 100 people download the show at once, just as an
Y'all would have to have
example.
100 listeners for that to happen. Come on
All
now.
5
That's
of
not
the
happening.
listeners are going to download it, you know, 20 times each at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Literally just asked Mortensey. He was like, how do we do a load balancer to like do this across multiple sites? And I was like, are you ever going to have that many people downloading the show?
nope. Hi,
So-
Tosh.
We might as well go
might
with
as well
least
go with-
time. So it's the fastest server. Don't
Right.
you think?
Right. And if anybody, Joe initially brought up you know, if people who have podcatchers set up that they automatically downloads as soon as a new podcast goes out. I don't think we have that problem because the last episode or last 2 episodes, I'm still hosting off of that tiny PC Duino 2 with its tiny amount of speed that, you know, so it worked. And I haven't had any problem. It's not causing any load to the house, but then again, it's not that strong to begin with. I might be able to. Like I said, I'll probably switch to something else. I don't know what though. I'm trying to think.
Well, I guess limiting the bandwidth in that way might be useful.
Yeah, I mean, we could if we set up if we set it up as who has the better bandwidth, it would pull mostly from Danny first, and then if something happens to Danny, it would pull from mine, which would be a little bit slower, but it would still work.
What's your bandwidth?
Well, for that, he said he was getting like what were you say you're getting?
About 100
kilobits?
kilobytes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
0.8 megabits. So
slower at the same time. The last 2 episodes I've hosted, and I've been able to download them. Actually, I've been able to download them pretty easily.
well, that's fine. Yeah, I think the time-based, latency-based load balancing would probably be the best way.
So, are you guys dedicating a machine to this, or is it
I'm
just
using
your...
the little Radshaw
what?
Zero, the little.
The hosting of the audio files or the load balancing.
the hosting?
The hosting is again. I got a little single board computer.
Yeah.
So,
that's
it is a
what I'm gonna
dedicated
use.
machine for it.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be. I mean,
Well, it's also my GetT server. But then again, I don't have much going on with my GetT server at the moment, so.
just something you don't mind keeping on all the time, I think is the main thing. You know.
Well, I need a new mini PC as it is. Well, basically anything. My set top, or well, the tablet that I'm using as a set-top box in my living room is no longer really doing the job for some reason. I'm going to reformat it once. I've already done, you know, all the updates and made sure that it was brought up to date, and it's still not able to do it even with an external USB-C to Ethernet adapter. And it's a Dell Latitude 7139, not the 7140. It's the 7139. So it should be enough to just, you know, stream Plex or stream whatever else, but it hasn't been. So I'm gonna reformat it, and if it works well after the reformat, I might need to get a new hard drive for it, but I don't think so. I'll put my my other setup that I had on my mini PC out here that died, and I gotta tell you guys about that here shortly. Onto there with WireGuard and the DNS sinkhole. So right now I'm using freaking AdGuard.
What's AdGuard?
It's a DNS that
It's like a
blocks
pie
ads.
hole.
Yeah, except it's a global DNS. Like they're a DNS provider.
Oh, okay, I got you. You have to pay for it, or?
No, it's free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, AdGuard DNS.
Never heard of it.
So, what do you guys use for your primary DNS? Like through your router?
AdGuard.
Okay. Because but
Mine's
is
just my
Outguard an
ISP.
outside?
Yes.
Well, normally a lot of them use Google, don't they?
Let's see.
Because I switched my primary DNS to Cloudflare.
I was using Cloudflare before AdGuard, and if I have my own sinkhole, I'll probably switch back to Cloudflare. But right now, I'm not running my own sinkhole because, yeah.
I'm using Pi-hole actually. I forgot. I'm
But what is
using
your
it- I'm
what
about
is
to
your
tell you.
router running to?
Yeah, no, his router runs to his Pi-hole, but what does your Pi-hole use for its DNS?
I'm about to tell you. Give me a second.
If you haven't set anything up, then it's probably the Googs.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, because they were just talking a minute ago about how Cloudflare might have been the
Come in.
backup issue with the
Huh? Yeah, it's does it smell weird? I got 4 minutes left.
Jackie says bye. Going to bed. We got to get
Does
up
it
at
have
like
a light
4
in the
a.m.
oven?
Yeah, they're not like.
Oh, okay. I might just look at them.
There goes Danny. And then everything stops.
Okay, I'm cooking some sweet potatoes in the oven.
So is this another undercard fight?
Yeah, it's the
not the big
women's
fight?
championship.
Yeah, okay.
So it'll be a while, it looks like. Or
Here a bit.
so oh, what were we talking about? Let's see. What my Pi-hole is?
Router
Yeah.
DNS.
DNS. On your Pi-hole is.
Okay, let me look at it. Got to. Come on. I bet Netflix just like kicked in a bunch of AWS servers. Because now it's playing fine.
Yep.
They probably said we can't cheap out on this. Let's see, local DNS.
You're muted, Honky.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking.
Yeah.
Where do you find it? Let's see, is it in settings?
It'd be in router settings, probably.
Oh, my DNS on the Pi-hole.
I don't have one to
It's
walk
Google.
you through.
It's
Google?
8.8.8.8.
Yep.
The backup of 8.8.1.1.
The second choice, I could choose. So it's on Google now, but I could choose OpenDNS, Level 3, Komodo,
Or you
DNS
could just
Watch,
set it to 1.1.1.1, which is Cloudflare.
Cloudflare. Yeah,
That's what mine
Cloudflare is an
is.
option too. But my router's DNS is my Pi-hole
Bad that I have
server.
them memorized?
No, because that's pretty damn simple.
Yeah, I need to get either another laptop set up.
So, how many computers do you have that are running? That will run, I mean.
That are currently in a running condition that are
Yeah.
mine?
Right, right.
Okay, not counting. Got my computer in the garage, which is the one I'm sitting on. Got my 1GX, which is my mini PC. I have my Dell Venue 11 Pro, which I have considered using. And then my gaming laptop. Oh gosh, what else? For mine, that's it. I mean, I also have the
You don't have any single boards?
well, I have some Raspberry Pis, but I'm looking for something a little beefier.
But I mean, you could use one of those. You could use a Pi. What is it? The 512 megabyte one.
No, like a 3 or a 4, but it won't do everything that I want because I also wanted to do some set-top work.
Well, I mean, just to host files, though.
Yeah, I have a 3 that I could dedicate to that. Or I have the 0 that I have to redo because it was also running an instance of Pi-hole, but for some reason it became unable to connect. So
Yeah.
I could go and redo that entirely and have that host.
The Pi 0, that's what I was thinking of.
And yeah, but like I said, I want another either laptop, which I might fix one of the ones that I have over there, or another mini PC like the Gigabit Bricks that I had. Get that all set up and use it. Yeah, I took the Gigabit Bricks apart and tried to find out what was wrong with it, and it wasn't the hard drive, and it wasn't the Wi-Fi card or the RAM.
Does it turn on?
It does not at all. I checked the switch, I checked the power supply, both of those were good, and then I checked all the fuses on it, and I simply can't find why it wouldn't turn on. And if it's anything other than those items, then there isn't a whole lot I can do. You know, I'm not going to be able to desolder the CPU and reball it if I need to or anything like that. So it's dead. I stripped it for parts. I'll have to find something else.
So you got several SBCs, though, that you can leave running, right?
Well,
Sassy.
I have the Raspberry Pi 4 that's currently running my Octoprint, so that's not getting used for anything else. I have a Pi 0 that's untouched. I have a Pi 0 that, Pi 0W untouched. I have a Pi 0W that was previously running an instance of Pi-hole, but no longer connects for some reason. I have a Pi 3 that's not doing anything. And I have another Pi 0 over here that had the USB hat on it. Well, I might be able to do it with that because I haven't used that in a while, so I don't mind setting it up with something. That was running RetroPie. Might set that up again on my extra screen here, around on it. So yeah, I do have some Pis that could go towards it. And it's not like, you know, I can't go to Micro Center and get another Pi 0W or maybe a Pi 0W2 for like $20.
Yeah, it's all you would need. So, I think
Keeping
we're all.
my eye on Facebook Marketplace for
But
mini
you
PC.
want something for like a mini PC that has some power to it.
Yeah,
For running other stuff.
I wanted to be able to do the DNS sinkhole. I wanted to do an instance of WireGuard. I wanted to have an Ethernet port. I wanted to have an HDMI output so that it can also act as a set-top box for Plex, Netflix, and streaming the hockey games. And yeah, I'll cover it.
So what about projects?
So 3D designed, well, I took someone else's 3D design and suited it to my purposes to make a different Olympic adapter that screws on to the smaller handles of my dumbbells.
Does it work?
Yeah. This is the fourth one I printed. I printed out some of the longer ones, but one of the longer ones that I printed in PETG dropped, and because it was PETG, it freaking shattered. You know, PETG is supposed to be stronger than PLA, but it's also a lot more brittle.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out all that well. And when I print another one out in PLA, I'll put them on one of my barbells, and that should work out pretty good. Yeah. I don't really even need these end caps, but I did measure it for the end caps. I mean, it's on there pretty solid.
You know what I was looking at on the Facebook Marketplace was those. I don't know if you've ever tried them. Those dumbbell sets that who makes is it Bowflex or somebody makes this dumbbell set that's adjustable?
I've seen several. There's a bunch of companies that do it.
Yeah.
Make those adjustable ones. I don't think it's Bowflex. I don't know if Bowflex makes one, but I know a lot of other companies do.
And but they on
they're expensive.
On the marketplace, they want just as much as they cost new on there. It's like, where are you getting these prices from when I could just buy it new and cost like $5 or $10 more? It's crazy.
Yeah, and at the start of the show, I 3D designed something that I'm currently printing now. It's a case to go onto the side of my chair here that holds vaporizer and my e-juice. Screen share on here. Select a tab to share.
So there's another fight they're showing now.
Yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yeah. So
this
is like to hold your stuff in?
Yeah, my vaporizer and the e-juice for it, and it grew into the side of my chair. It's not a complex design or anything.
It looks cool. So it fits right in there, huh?
Yeah, it's all measured and everything. I'm hoping I left enough tolerance for it to just slide in easily and me not to have to fight for it.
Yeah.
So, if not, I'll scale it up like.
Have you heard of this guy, Nunez? Nunez says he's a social media guy.
No.
With the Netflix comedy special. And he's fighting.
Any hymns out there? I'm seeing two women trying to kill each other.
Oh, what am I watching?
I don't know what you're watching. I'm watching Taylor versus Serrano.
Paul versus... Ah. Well, something happened then. Am I behind?
Click the live button over on the side.
Okay, watch live. I clicked that. Oh, okay. Watch live here. There we go. No wonder. Alright, now I'm watching I see the two women fighting. I'm glad you said something. Man, they're beating the shit out of each other. Standing 8 count. Or that was the end of the round. Yeah, end of the round. So what have I been working on? I just took apart my laptop and did the did the thing. That's very specific.
Incredibly specific. Thermal paste?
Thermal paste.
Quit
yeah.
watching the women and speak.
So I had to all I did was unplug the battery. They make it see my laptop is a ThinkPad X1 Carbon. It was super easy. They just take the bottom off and the screws are captured in the part of the bottom so they don't come out, and then that just comes off really well. I had to use like a guitar pick around the sides, and then it came off, and then I unplugged the battery and didn't have to take anything else out. I just took the little heat sink with the pipes on, the copper pipes, is part of the fan itself. So that whole thing just comes out. It's got 4 screws that hold it down on top of the CPU. And I put some more thermal paste in there and put it back. And now I'm running at about 62 degrees. And the fan... Oh, I was going to ask y'all too. Fan is running about 4,000 RPMs. Do y'all use any kind of software to adjust when the fan should come on, or?
I don't know.
I have in the past. It kind of depends on what machine I'm on, but yeah.
Because this doesn't come on till about 60C, and then it kicks on. But I wouldn't mind it coming on at about 50C. But I don't know how to set that.
Is it only on or off? Is there control for like percentage?
Well, I don't have any way to control that. I mean, it adjusts its speed according to the temperature, but I don't have any way to control that manually that I know of.
I think it's very dependent on the machine because that's generally controlled through the motherboard. So
yeah,
drivers.
So yeah, I wonder if there's any way to get it to come on at 50C instead of 60C.
Have you checked your BIOS?
No, that's a good idea. I'll do that after the show. But other than that, oh, I did take apart some smart plugs, and I took out the little microcontroller and reflashed it with a firmware called Open Belkin, or Open Beacon, I think is what it's called, because the microcontrollers are made by a company called Beacon, and on GitHub they have it's a little ARM microcontroller, M0 microcontroller. See, Open Beacon, EN, yeah. And then once you have that installed, it installs a version of it installs a firmware that you can use with Home Assistant instead of having to use the Tuya, because they're all like Tuya is the name of the software to control them, and there's a Tuya integration in Home Assistant, but it's really flaky and it sucks. So if you can use like ESP Home or something, it's much better. So that's what I was flashed them with. I used a UART adapter and just flashed those microcontrollers and resoldered them back into the smart plugs. Now they show up fine in Home Assistant.
You've been using Home Assistant for a while, right?
Yeah.
Does Home Assistant like integrate with anything else?
Oh yeah.
Integrate with Alexa or Google?
Yeah.
Or,
It has Google and Alexa integrations, and like the smart plugs, they can run on Alexa. I don't really use Alexa, so I didn't do that. Or Google Home, I don't really use that.
I know you can set up a lot more automation with Home Assistant than you.
Yeah. So all the stuff I have is either using Tasmota, if it's an 8266, ESP8266, or if it's one of those ARM microcontrollers, then I have to find out who makes the microcontroller and then find an open source firmware to load onto it. But it can be tricky.
My concern then becomes the maintenance, the upkeep on it. It getting too complex, because once it gets to a certain level of complexity to use it or maintain it, then it loses spousal approval.
Oh yeah, Home Assistant itself, it kind of has a steep learning curve as far as setting everything up. But like the app itself has a, what would you call it, like a home screen kind of? Let me see what they call it. Open my instance.
Voice activation?
Has an overview. Okay. And that's where it has all your little switches and hook up your cameras to it and all that stuff. You could do voice activation with it too, yeah. So once you get all the setup with it, whoever has to interact with it after that, they don't have to really do anything. They'll have all the switches ready for themselves.
Tyson.
You see it?
Oh, Tyson.
My Netflix keeps crapping out.
So what do you have set up with Home Assistant at the moment?
Oh, like what is it installed on?
Well, what do you have running? You said you just flashed a bunch of plugs. What do you have the plugs doing?
Oh, okay. So the plugs themselves, all they are is on, off, and they also have like energy, or it shows you how much power.
So lights or
Yeah.
toaster?
So I have lights. I have Octoprint is connected to Home Assistant. I have hang on a second, I'm trying to see. Watch live. So are you watching like a Tyson and Jake Paul, like?
Oh, no, they were just showing pre-fight stuff with Tyson. I mean, he
Okay.
didn't even have his shorts on yet.
That's right.
I mean, he was
That's what I'm
literally
watching now.
walking around with his ass hanging out.
So right now, does it show Tyson and Logan Paul like just like a little promo deal?
Well, it's just pre-fight stuff. No, it was just him in the locker room.
What's that? I think I have. Yeah. 6 minutes left. I'll check them.
So, Courier, if you haven't noticed by now, we're not a very, well put together, tight podcast.
We're not
more
professional podcast.
Professionalism isn't really our thing, and just so you know, nothing gets fixed in post. My post process is I truncate silence, and then I kick it. I take the WAV file, kick it out as an OGG and an MP3, and then I just boot it on out there. Actually, I take the that whole beginning part before the whole intro that gets tacked onto the end. So if the people don't want to listen to us talk about movies and other stuff, they can listen to it after. We talk about it afterwards. That's we try to keep like less tech talk at the beginning part, and then that gets tacked onto the end. So besides that, like maybe some intro music, it's pretty much just truncate silence and off it goes. So yeah. Professionalism isn't what we're about around here. We're
D for done.
Sometimes we have conversations that are interesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the conversations
Well-
are usually interesting. That's half the point.
Well, we gotta ask
but at the
the
same
new guy.
time, sometimes we'll have Joe working out in the background, or
Well, I got the weights all set up. I just haven't gone over there yet.
Danny
Well,
cleaning his
I
fish
got-
tank in the middle of the.
I got the fight on, and then I'm trying to pay attention to these sweet potatoes too that are in the oven. We have a big Friendsgiving tomorrow.
So we got to ask Courier what are his projects like right now.
Yeah, you talk now.
Yeah, say something. Well, I remember last episode Morden C mentioned something about going back and watching all of Videorama. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll try to find that channel and see what it's about. I remember he mentioned it to me like, enter at your own risk. I get it. But I kept hitting the home key and it was scrolling up and loading and scrolling up. And I was like, how far back does this go? And then I thought, well, I want to try out this new agentic IDE, they call it. It's called Windsurf. It's basically like the next generation of Cursor, which has, first you had Continue and Codemium built into VS Code, which were like, they're plugins that give you a measure of generative AI right inside the editor. So you could do something like tab autocomplete, and if it notices that you're doing some tedious formatting, then it will just suggest, oh, do you want to do that same change on all these lines? And it's a little smarter than multi-line Cursor because it understands, well, it predicts in the context of what you're doing. Anyway, long story short, I've been trying out the new editors as they become available and just started on Windsurf today, which is from the Codemium team. And it takes the idea of having generative AI in the editor to another level. They call it agentic, where agents are like going beyond generating something from a prompt, going beyond chat and instruct modalities to be a little bit more independent. So it's more task oriented or goal oriented, and it gets itself into a loop. And most of them seem to be human in the loop, although there's been some talk and some buzz that I haven't had any personal experience with about truly independent agents where there's not a human in the loop. I guess they got to give them some kind of constraints. Bad things might happen. But anyway, this editor, Windsurf, I figured I would give it a test drive. And so I thought maybe I can ask it to give me a program that uses my matrix access token and finds all the videos in Videorama with a command line interface. And I just got it working. You want to see it? Yeah. So it's got a basic paging function. You can tell it to download the first 10 and then skip 10 to get the next 10 or whatever. And I couldn't get it to work with streaming. I was trying to get it to build like a VLC or MPV playlist, but there was an authentication hurdle that I just thought it would be easier to download the videos. They don't seem to be very large. They're just compressed MP4s. Yeah. So I think that'll work. I don't know how many of them there are. I didn't turn it loose on like the full thing, but I've been hammering the server trying to get this working, and it's functioning. I'm able to watch the videos now.
Oh, cool. Let me see what the is it pulling down right now? Oh, my network traffic is nothing, so it must not be that big a deal. They're so small too. So is that agent, is that hosted locally or is that remote? anybody hear me?
No, we can hear you. We
Oh.
can't hear him.
I'm
Oh.
sorry, I forgot I was on push to talk, and I started to pet the cat, so I can't do both at the same time. Where did I leave off? You asked me if you can use your local models, right?
I mean, what you're using, is that hosted locally or is that hosted remotely?
Windsurf is using remote models as a service. It looks like it's got GPT-4o, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, and their own model called Cascade Base available through. So they're basically implementing those APIs and feeding the responses back into the editor.
Okay, I got you.
So there's another one I've been playing with which is a plugin, or rather extension, for VS Code, and that's called Continue, and it does allow you to use your local models. So I run Ollama with Open Web UI. Ollama has an OpenAI API compatible API endpoint, which is the V1 completions endpoint. I didn't have as good an experience, but I'm probably limited my scrappy little GPU and the models that I've picked, and I just haven't found the right combo that would be the most effective.
What are you running Ollama on?
The Ollama I'm running, well, I've got a few different models I can show you, but the GPU is an NVIDIA 4070, 12 gigabytes.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the 4060 16 gigabyte, since that was the cheapest 16 gigabyte card they had. I burned up my old GPU running Ollama. It worked for a little while, but then it roasted it.
Oh, wow. I didn't
But it was a
realize
really
you could
old
do that.
GPU. Yeah. It just ran full speed for a long time. It got too hot.
Just thermal damage?
Yeah. But I was looking at the 4060 16 gigabyte just because they're about the cheapest 16 gigabyte card you can get for Ollama. I heard the new M4s and even the M3 Apples are really good for running models on too, for some reason. I can't hear you. Are you talking there?
Are they using CUDA or CPU?
They're using, are you talking about the Apples? The Macs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're using, I don't know what they're using. I just read that the M4 and the M3 are great for running models on. So, and it's not a discrete GPU either. I guess it's just that ARM chip. But yeah, I was gonna put a 4060 in my server, and then run Ollama and LXC, and then route the GPU through the LXC.
Right on.
But you have good luck with it
The
on the 4070.
it's been enough to whet my appetite. I pretty quickly I pretty quickly had a good idea of what I would do with more, and I started pricing 4090s and 3090s, which are both 24 gigs.
Yeah.
And I was a little price sensitive.
They're
It probably cost me
expensive.
$4 or $5 to get into a pair of 4090s, because I'd have to have a new PSU and a bigger case, or just a much noisier system overall. This one's quiet because it's got those large diameter fans. I think they're 120 millimeter, and I don't even hear it most of the time. So that's fine for sitting on the desk. But if I was gonna go bigger, I'd have to decide if I want to get like refurbished 3090s, stack of those. Well, a pair rather. So 48 gigabytes would allow me to load much better models locally. Ultimately, the size of the model file needs to fit into video RAM for it to perform.
Are you
Otherwise
running an 8B right now?
Am I running 8B? Oh, the 8 billion parameter models?
Yeah.
I am running the 8 billion parameter I think is it 8 billion parameters or tokens? It's parameters, right?
Parameters, yeah.
Yeah. The Ollama 3.1 8B is the best performing model that I've found for general purpose that I can fit into 12 gigs.
See, I had to run the 2B. That's all I had. That's all the video RAM I had on my old GPU.
Yeah, I found it's like there's a clear improvement with the size of the model, and I found some leaderboards that seem to confirm that hypothesis. That I don't know that it scales linearly, but there's noticeable improvement with the larger models. Although that's not always true. Sometimes the smaller model, like for autocomplete as a task, code autocomplete as a task, it seems like the smaller models actually work better because it needs to be almost immediate. You can't wait for the tokens to generate for it to be functional as an autocompleter.
See, that's the problem I had with smaller models, not for autocomplete, but just for token per second. It was pretty slow. So I would like to get a 16 gigabyte card because I was wanting to integrate it with paperless nginx, which I was using for all my document storage, and then to use RAG to train a local model on my information so that anything I need to ask or pull up about my records or anything really, because I had it all OCR'd scanned and OCR'd in paperless nginx.
Totally.
And so that was my goal, was just to have my own personal local model that knew everything I needed it to know about my past history and stuff, all that stuff. But that all failed when I burned out my GPU.
Yeah,
I mean, you can do it on a CPU, but it sucks, man. It's
there
so
are
slow.
some cloud providers that have GPU instances that you can spin up for a task. Of course, it's a lot more expensive to leave it running 24/7 as a service, but like if you have a training task or a generation task or something that it might take a couple minutes to spin it up and install something, but it can be automated. You can express all this stuff as code, all the bootstrapping stuff you need, and like spin it up, let it work, and then spin it down. You don't have to keep it running. I haven't done that yet myself because I'm not fancy enough yet to really have a good idea of how I want to go about training something, but RAG looks like the best entry point there.
Yeah, it was the
because
simplest for me.
Right, just load a bunch of docs, load a bunch of content.
Exactly.
And Continue has this, which is that extension for VS Code, has that built in. You one of the configuration params you give it is where do your docs live? It can be a URL, it can be a folder, and it will, as soon as you load it, it'll just go there, slurp everything up, and start generating the vector database on that content. It's essentially RAG in a box.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So then, I mean, one of the main functions of having generative AI in the editor is that you can interrogate your code base. Well, this adds docs to it. So it gives you even more rich context as you're like talking with your code base. You can say, like, where is this defined, or what's the overall pattern here, or what do the docs say about this?
Exactly. That's what I wanted. Just for like overall life stuff. And
yeah, absolutely.
So maybe one day I'll get back to it.
Yeah, it's something I want to play with. The only things that have really worked out for me have been GPT, just having that on the ready. I use it a lot throughout the day. It's easy, it's on my phone. And I found I can use Llama 3.1 8B very similarly. it's pretty smart. It's pretty accurate. It does make more mistakes than GPT-4o, that's for sure. But you learn to be skeptical and to take everything with a grain of salt if you're asking these things questions.
Yeah.
The other thing that's worked out well for me is the generative AI in the editor, using the Claude 3.5 Sonnet and GPT-4o. Those have both performed very well for autocomplete and for sidebar chat instruct. Haven't had nearly the same level of like productivity boost or perceived productivity boost from those self-hosted models through Llama, which I really think that's just not enough video RAM to get the better models, or me just picking the wrong models, because it's not really prescribed how, exactly how to do it. Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error.
Now, do you need a subscription for those to use those in your editor?
Both. Windsurf, I don't know about pricing on that yet. If they must have a pretty good free trial, because I just logged in with my old CodeMeum account and went to work, and it never nagged me about signing up for anything more. So, like, you're definitely able to prove the value before you have to pay. And that was also true of Cursor, which is like Windsurf. It's a VS Code fork or clone where they've just embellished the UI with more AI in more places. But with Continue, that's totally free and open source, and you can plug in your own models, or you can put in an API token for OpenAI, Claude, Sonnet, etc. Yeah, but this it chose Python. Claude chose Python and wrote 900 lines in the end to accomplish what I want. I told it what I wanted in plain English, and it was a back and forth iteration for maybe an hour and a half, where I was like, didn't work, or make it do that, and it just wrote the whole thing. And so now I can watch all the Videorama clips.
Nice.
I'll post it up in a gist or something so you can play with it if you want to.
That's cool.
It's definitely amusing.
So now you get to rot your brain with those Videorama videos.
Yeah, the payoff is amazing.
Yeah.
All that for that.
Hey, look, that guy got run over by a bus.
What is Videorama?
The Matrix channel of all those little videos. Those half of them are like snuff videos by that Danny puts up.
Danny
You're
likes
not-
the snuff videos?
You're not in that room?
I don't know. Why?
Whether somebody died.
Excuse me. Anyone who has seen the recent LinuxLUGcast, well, the last year's LinuxLUGcast movies cannot be damaged by any creation of humanity so far.
Oh, should we talk about that?
Well,
You want to talk about the movie?
That
might
did
as well.
bring it up.
Yeah. Hey, so obviously he wants to listen to it.
Yeah.
He wants to talk about the movie. Did you watch the movie, Netminer?
No, I'm fine without those alleged artistic creations.
What are you seeing right now, Joe?
I mean, what am I seeing right now?
On
That
Netflix?
girl's got a bloody face. That's what I'm saying.
Is this the 10th round?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Hold on, I got to hit the live button. Evidently, I'm not live anymore.
Oh.
Oh, that's all right. For a while, I just stopped trying because it was lagging so bad, and then it would shut down.
Yeah. They said,
It's got to be the most popular thing on freaking Netflix right now.
well, did you see what that link I posted in?
In Mumble, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't click on it. What was it about?
it just says, "See this, babe." It's happening to everybody.
So if this thing is live and super popular, I mean, what ad revenue are they getting from this besides Celsius having the giant logo on the ring there?
I guess, yeah, sponsors and then new subscribers probably that they're
I
hoping.
doubt they got new subscribers. It's
Oh,
everybody
but
who's
they
already
did.
subscribed to Netflix is everybody's on
What?
at the same time watching the same thing.
Well, I mean,
All
it's
right,
the
looks
only way
like
you
it's
can watch this
over.
fight.
10th round is over.
Oh, it's over? Okay.
Toronto won on points.
Man, they're really screwing up.
All right. So we watched the movie Spaceman, starring the ever popular issue with this group, Adam Sandler.
Oh, God.
Adam Sandler plays a Czech cosmonaut who goes up into space by himself in a spacecraft for basically a year's mission, 6 months out to this weird
It's like an alternate
Wow.
timeline, right?
yeah, something purple.
It's an impossible timeline.
Considering it's the technology that would have to be involved just with the communication. I mean, there's no lag whatsoever. This light, what they call it, light communication or whatever.
Yeah, quantum something.
And
Yeah.
it's the other side of Jupiter.
Yeah,
And it only took him 6 months to get there.
right.
He was booking.
But and he's going out there to what would you call that?
It
cloud?
was
Yeah,
a cloud.
big shiny purple cloud to go take readings from the big giant purple shiny cloud
that appeared in the sky one day 4 years ago.
Right. And it's all about how lonely he is, and all of a sudden he has a friend on the ship who can read his mind, who's also, by the way, a giant spider.
Now let me tell you, my reaction. Go ahead.
I can say that I don't necessarily have a fear of spiders, but mentally I did spend the entire movie going, "What the hell are you doing? Just kill the giant fucking spider." Because it's a giant fucking spider. Nothing about that seemed. I wouldn't be able to stay in the same room for long enough. It would just make me lose my goddamn mind. He's hugging the thing at one point.
You get a
spider
the size of a Great Dane, and I don't care who you are. Suddenly you have arachnophobia. Okay.
I had arachnophobia for him. All right.
It's weird. It's weird because he's talking back home, and the first words that come out of his mouth aren't "I'm tripping balls right now." Nothing's wrong.
They became best friends.
Even when he was hugging the spider, I'm like, that spider's gonna fucking bite him.
The mouth of the spider was weird. It looked so much like a human mouth when it was talking. I'm like, it was freaking me out.
It had those big things in the front, but then had like a regular mouth in the middle. Yes.
And it went nuts for Nutella.
Yes. But who doesn't? All right.
Oh, true. But anyways.
And basically the entire point of the movie, like his wife at home is, which he basically neglected throughout most of their marriage, is also pregnant and about ready to have a kid, and the whole movie is all about loneliness.
No,
because he's by himself in this spacecraft on a 1-year mission that takes 6 months to go out into the middle of space and then 6 months back.
You sure this movie wasn't about a cleaning agent?
No, it's about
If
It's-
it was, they
it-
would have killed the spider instantly.
It's the same thing that made Interstellar so corny. Is the whole point is that the universe is held together by love. Love is always the answer.
Yes,
Love
and
is all
this
we need.
nebula is an echo from the beginning of time.
Yes, it's the beginning of time and the end of time.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it was trying to cash in on those interstellar vibes, but
Yeah,
it was just not really
Bad.
delivering.
it's
It was
just
just slow. Nothing really happens in it at all.
Yeah.
There's a
This
giant
movie-
fucking spider. Which,
This movie greatly improved at 2x.
Yeah, I think the only way it'd be improved was by 3x, which I didn't watch. I watched it in one.
And this movie did have some redeeming features. You know, the imagery was quite nice. The going back into his past and making him face himself, blah blah blah. There was some existential shit there. But honestly, there was just a lot really, really wrong with it. Yeah, you know, going to Jupiter in 6 months, that's absolutely insane unless there's been a whole lot of leaps and bounds in technology in this, which they didn't really show. And then the fact that it was corporate sponsored
Yes, I love the corporate sponsored.
by Bomba.
Yeah, and you gotta appreciate the technology of that ship too. I mean, could there be any more bigger giant box of bolts? I mean, it was a box. I mean, it was a square box, and that was just falling apart. That the cameras didn't work at one point. The toilet didn't work at one point. Yeah. And all you see is just hoses and wires hanging out all over the place. Their whole
makes
computer
an
system.
Ethernet cable right there.
Yes, he clipped his own Ethernet cable just to get the phone working. Their whole computer system is like a laptop that's like duct taped to the wall. Yeah, you got to appreciate that.
it was
but
like
no, those tanks,
retrofuturism.
those tanks of sanitizer.
Yeah,
That he ends up using one of them not only as propulsion, but to save his friend who's surviving in the vacuum of space. Because
right.
this space alien giant spider that didn't cause him to, you know, freak out entirely in an enclosed space or tell anyone, hey, because his first thought wasn't, I'm tripping,
Right.
I'm hallucinating, I've gone insane in the quiet of space. It's, no, there's a spider over there. Oh, God.
So
And it actually starts with him yanking the having a dream or whatever about yanking a spider out from underneath his skin that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's stuck a little thing out of his nose, but then he yanks it out of his mouth, and then it turns really big.
The best scene in this whole movie was when he had that bottle of vodka, and he was using it to propel himself in a circle.
Yeah,
it's
just him spinning in a circle with vodka. Yes.
Yeah, no, he was using the bottle. He had had it out to the side, and
right.
He had squeezed it, and that was what was causing his propulsion around and around.
Yes. Needless to say, I think having Adam Sandler on there was kind of pointless. Because you could have had anybody in there. It would not have mattered at all.
No, but the worst part was the fact that he started out trying to use an accent and then stopped.
I don't understand the point of having them check anyways. Couldn't they just make it from like US and just say it's a different timeline or something? Why story-wise did they have them from the check?
I don't know.
Did it make more sense for the whole his backstory about his father and being a revolutionary or who was labeled as a war criminal or something, and the other kids throwing him into the pond and trying to drown him?
But what did make sense in this movie is what they did with the wife. When the wife put together
Ran
the
away?
message saying that I'm leaving you, blah, 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 the Dear John video.
Oh, yeah.
And then they refused to send that to him because he was already on the edge of sanity, as it were.
Yes.
That made sense. And then
Yes.
the ending kind of just trippy as hell. I mean, he's out there collecting samples, and his buddy, what was his name?
Hanush.
Hanush. Was it Hanush?
Hanush.
Okay.
He named him Hanush.
Right, after a clockmaker.
Yes.
But anyways, Hanush, the giant spider, is like, I'm being eaten the same way my people were by the things that are infesting me. And
Yes.
he magically goes through the wall of the ship out into space. And the things are starting to come out of him and eat him. And so, Adam Sandler does the smart thing, the brilliant thing, and he puts on his spacesuit, grabs a tank of the Bomba cleaner. It was Bomba, right?
I think
Yeah.
so. That sounds right.
Propels himself out into space. I think he attempted to maintain a tether, but it didn't work. Propels himself out into space, sprays his buddy with the sanitizer, and then that launches him away from the ship and launches the canister out in the middle of fuck all. But it does save his buddy for a short period of time. Then they get to go and see all of time and space.
Well, then he's stuck out there by himself after his buddy disintegrates, and
But his buddy had sent him towards his ship. Was the whole thing?
No, it was a different ship that came and picked him up.
Oh, it was the Korean ship?
I don't remember which
Yeah,
country
but
it was. Was it
That's what
Korean?
I thought, because they said the Koreans were like a couple days behind him or whatever, and
Right,
some of the
right.
dialogue.
But the spider, as it was being devoured by the space maggots, sent him flying towards whatever ship it was. And that's the only thing I can think to call them is space maggots.
That works.
Space termites?
Space terminal. I don't know. It was a horrible movie. Even when I initially saw the ads for it, I thought it was a horrible movie. And you made us watch this.
It's just because the visuals really reminded me of the book Hail Mary, which also had a giant spider in it.
No,
That
it's
sounds
because
horrible as
you
well.
love Adam Sandler. for some
Oh,
reason.
okay.
I like Adam Sandler.
You do?
I do, yeah.
He sucks, man. He's terrible.
Well, he's only got one emotion.
Occasionally I like that stupid humor. I don't know what to tell you.
He's only got one emotion, which is anger,
Humor.
which is fine. But no, I thought he did really well for this role. He was supposed to be playing a guy that had made himself essentially emotionless and then got sent into space.
You could have gotten just about anybody to play that role.
Yeah, but I still think that he did it pretty well.
It was fine. Though it wasn't like a huge range to begin with.
That's true. There wasn't a whole lot of range to this character.
There wasn't a whole lot of range in this movie.
Okay,
The only
yeah,
person,
no
the only
argument
thing,
there.
oddly enough, the only person I liked in the entire movie was the guy Justin or whoever who was his ground control buddy. That's it, because that was the guy from what was it? That wasn't he the Indian guy from that '70s show?
No, I don't think so. He would have been older. The
Well, he
Indian
was
guy
older.
from that '70s show has done some other things, and he basically, I thought he put on.
I think he's on NCIS now, and he's kind of jacked a little bit.
Yeah, he put on a lot of muscle, and he was also in the From Dusk Till Dawn TV show, and he was wasn't he Handy Manny, the voice of Handy Manny?
Yeah, Kunal and Nayar.
Didn't the spider sound like Jeffrey Combs?
Oh, Big Bang Theory. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry. Wrong one.
Wrong Indian guy. God.
Man, you're so racist.
My bad. Wrong guy.
That's typical honky.
I knew I recognized him.
You called him a Mexican from India. That's terrible.
They had was it the head of the and I just killed the page with the cast list. Isabella Rossellini.
Was
Was
that
the
his
head of
wife?
No, that was the head of the space program.
Oh. Well, y'all want to just rate this?
Crap.
I'm going to
Yeah.
give it a half star.
What?
I'm going thumbs down. Adam
Yeah.
Sandler can suck it.
Yeah, big time.
I have no problem with Adam Sandler, but the movies suck balls.
They both
Look.
suck.
Yeah, if I hadn't been watching it at 2x, I'd have to give it a thumbs down. So let's give it a thumbs down.
All right, so 0 stars.
0 stars, because, yeah, I mean, the scenes were entirely too slow.
Let's put it this way. I'd almost give it half a star just because of the fact of it wasn't one of those movies where I felt like I really, really, really just wanted to turn it off or I had to shut it off.
Or
I
you
made
needed
it
to
through.
pull your brain out of your head and scrub it with bleach and put it back in.
Right, because we've had those movies. There are several movies, right? Like Bikini Hackers.
Yeah.
During most of that movie, I had it up to like 2x, and even then, I'm like, wow, even at 2x, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is better than that, but that's still not saying much because this is still just nothing really happens the entire movie. Like, oh yay, people are lonely.
You don't want to know the next movie?
Yes.
I'm going to put it in the show notes.
And you should all read Project Hail Mary because it's awesome.
Not if it's anything like this movie.
It's not.
It's called Get Lamp.
Get Lamp?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's Jason Sadowski from Internet Archive.
Oh, and my daughter wanted me to add 2 movies to the list.
No, not those 2.
What were the 2 movies?
Transformers
the Transformer
and
movies.
Fall
Transformer 1
Guy.
And she
What was
says
the other one?
She says Fall Guy is all about a lot about the tech that goes into stunt work for movies and things like that. So I don't know if I believe her or not, though.
No.
Is this
don't.
like based off of the 80s TV show with Lee Majors? That Fall Guy?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. With Ryan
Okay.
Gosling.
Oh, okay.
The wooden dummy.
They redid it. Okay.
Text adventure documentary. Okay, and it is on
YouTube.
It is on YouTube, and it is 2 hours long.
It's on the Internet Archive, too, since that's the guy that directed
What?
it.
Get Lamp?
Yep.
Okay.
So is this about lamp stacks?
That's exactly what it's about.
Problem with that?
In 2010. Netflix is really shitting the bed.
Text adventures were not a short-lived genre of game.
They still make them?
Yeah, they still make MUDs.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not about lamp stacks.
Did you ever finish that BBS one, Upcraft?
I mean, I'd seen it before.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. I was all over that when that came out. I've seen Get Lamp too, though. I like a lot of the projects that this guy's done. So, yeah, the BBS stuff was really good. I don't know if Netminer ever finished it. I really enjoyed
never
the BBS
did.
stuff.
I made it about halfway through.
Yeah, I ran a BBS for a long time, so I was really into it. But it might be an acquired taste otherwise.
And what was there was
Did you-
two games that it talked about. Trade Wars. Did you ever play Trade Wars?
Oh yeah, yeah. Trade Wars. There was
And
a bunch of pretty popular online games. Trade Wars. There was like Legend of the Red Dragon was another one. There was the Pit was like a fighting game, and there's Baron Realms Elite. There's a bunch of them that were pretty cool.
So the one I was on, I had Legend of the Red Dragon. I liked playing Legend of the Red Dragon. And Trade Wars, I tried playing Trade Wars, but I had no idea what was going on in it. I think I tried it once for like a little while, then I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. No one's telling me anything, so I'm just gonna get off of this. But
Did you
apparently,
guys-
Trade Wars was super popular, at least according to that documentary.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the more popular ones, and you kind of needed to like be on top of stuff and try and get in every day and play. If you couldn't call up every day and make your moves, so to speak, you're just gonna be left in the dust.
Did you guys ever play any of the text-based games?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
all the
I played-
Zorks.
Oh, yeah,
but
Zork.
pretty much all the Infocom games.
Okay. Yeah, Zork is awesome.
My dad had a Texas Instrument, one of those Texas Instruments that also you could put like Atari cartridges into, and he had something on there. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I can try to look it up what it
But
was.
Something on
but that
there.
was-
I don't know
my
what
buddy
it was
that lived across the
called.
street. His brother had a Texas Instruments computer. I think there was a text-based game in there called Bedlam. You wake up, you're trapped in an asylum. You got to go around and work your way out. And there's like some guy who thinks he's Napoleon in one of the rooms next to you, and you eventually
That's
get
pretty
like,
cool.
yeah, I remember that one. That was the only one I really remember playing though. But yeah, the bunch of the other Zork ones, and there was one called Sea Stalker. Suspend or Suspended was one where I think you wake up from suspended animation and have to figure out what's going on with the world. Planetfall, that was another big Infocom one. It's good stuff.
I can't remember the names of most of the ones that I played, but I know for a while, on one of my dad's like really, really old computers that he brought home because the army said it was too old to use anymore. We had this one where you woke up and your character had amnesia. You had to basically wandering around town, and you could try to cross the highway, but every time I tried to cross the highway, I got hit by a truck. Or you could rob a bank, or if you could get the money from robbing the bank without getting shot, you could go and get some food somewhere or something crazy like that. And that's all I remember about the game. But, that was 30 plus years ago. So, and then I did play Zork. I do remember playing Zork as a kid. And then there a Zork 2? Probably.
Oh yeah, there was a couple. I think it was Zork up to Zork 3, and then eventually they made there was some version of Zork probably came out in the 90s that was like graphical, but it just didn't have the same feel to it.
And then I was big into a couple of the MUDs. One that comes to mind, yes, they're still text-based adventures, but they're not the whole, enclosed games that I guess are being talked about here. So, Mediavia, I know they're still around. I don't play anymore. Or last time I checked, let me. Not coming up, so maybe they went away. Oh no? No HTTPS.
Are they BBS?
Telnet.
Well, yeah.
Actually, the site's not coming up, so. Okay, here it is. I will put that into the show notes so you guys can check it out. And I'm sure it's changed a lot since I played it as a teenager.
Fight's about to start.
The fight's been about to start for more than an hour now, so...
I was gonna say, I'm just hearing about it from you, but it sounds like we're on the cusp.
So evidently all the money's on Tyson.
No, he's the underdog.
Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty
Wow.
big spread too. Minus 220 to plus 180.
So if you put your money on Tyson, you're gonna get twice the payout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess Tyson to go the distance on this. But I would guess Tyson to come out and knock Logan out in like the first 10 seconds.
Well, it's like you said, if he can keep it, if he can close the distance and keep Paul from running away from him,
But
he has a chance.
well, Paul's strategy definitely has to be stay out of reach of that right and let him wear his old ass out.
Well, it's about to start. I'm gonna watch this, honky.
Watching it too, but
It's on Netflix?
Yeah.
It's streaming on Netflix.
Mine just. Oh wait, we're back. I was gonna say mine just timed out. Oh no. Yeah. That matter. Have you been doing anything more with your Raspberry Pis?
No, I've been pretty quiet, really, on everything. That reminds me, I need to get my Pi 5 up at the desktop and start changing. Start working on a couple of other projects.
All right. Was there? I haven't actually looked at Lemmy in a while. Was there anything interesting in the news that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
You just way too
Logan
focused
Paul
on
is fighting Mike
Yeah.
Tyson.
No decent articles or anything.
No.
Everybody's a little
They're
bit
all
distracted.
I can run down it real quick before this
A
starts.
Cheeto won the presidency.
Oh yeah.
We're not going into politics. We're not doing that.
Let's see. Let me give you the top 10 or the top 5 of the Lemmy real quick. There's a beginner's guide to editing text files with VVI.
Oh,
So you might want to check that out.
I was promised a
Mortensey?
demonstration by Mortensey.
Yeah. Mozilla Foundation crumbles as third of staff cast off. Firefox overlord to revisit advocacy mission.
So what's going on with Firefox?
I don't
They
know.
can't make any money,
Firefox
so
is
they
okay,
had to fire
but
a third.
Mozilla is
I
not
thought they
doing
get
good.
most of the money from Google.
They do.
Yeah.
Linus kicked the Russians out of Linux. Now they're creating a sovereign Linux community in Russia. Y'all heard about that, right? The Russian kernel developers were
No.
kicked out.
Sovereign? Basically not subject to Linus Torvalds.
Right. Fedora 41 is here. That's what I'm currently running. 18-year prison sentence for a man who used AI to create child abuse images. I think we had talked about that before, but he hadn't been sentenced yet.
Right.
How long was the sentence?
18 years.
Not long enough.
Teen dies by suicide after becoming obsessed with AI chatbot.
Actually, according to what I hear on YouTube Shorts, 18 years. I would not buy life insurance for that gentleman if he gets 18 years in Gen Pop.
That's the top 5. Anything else that y'all want to talk about?
I don't know. Again, what the hell is going on with Google? Or not Google, Firefox.
Oh, let me open the story real quick.
So Mozilla fired a third more of their people after the 40% that they fired at the beginning of the year.
It says
Crazy
Mozilla
number like
Foundation is laying off about a third of its staff. The nonprofit org, which oversees the corporation that develops Firefox, insists it will continue its advocacy mission, though its approach may change. The foundation is reorganizing teams to increase agility and impact as we accelerate our work to ensure a more open and equitable technical future for us all. That unfortunately means ending some of the work we have historically pursued, blah, 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 and also firing 30% of the current team. It doesn't really say, like, I don't know. And it just laid off 60 staff. So that's 30%. Oh, that was in February. That's 5%, 60 staff. I remember talking about that.
Yeah.
It says its financial report from 2022 reported more than $1.2 billion in financial assets, royalties, largely fees from search engines, fell to $510 million. Revenue from subscriptions and advertising reached about $76 million. There you go.
All right. There you go. All right. Since everybody seems to be preoccupied, do we want to shut it down?
Yes. But I will be working on the nginx load balancer.
Okay.
And I think that would be a good project for Lugcast Lab.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Then we got to figure out like an SFTP script to be able to distribute the file, the audio files once they are the script is done editing them. All right.
Or SCP.
May I mention
Yes.
that some storage redundancy besides just multiple download sites might be good.
Such as?
Mirroring, RAD, something. If everything's going to be very slow, you might be able to just mirror your storage drives, something like that.
Yeah, he's saying like mirror what we've already downloaded, just in case.
Yeah,
like,
download to a mirrored
like a RAID or
drive instead of
something,
just download to a naked drive.
Right. That's a good idea. Okay, it's about to start honking.
All right. Our next recording date will be December 6th, 2024. Our music is Downright provided by Klaatu and Broam. I'd like to thank basically Minnix for the Mumble server, the Lemmy server, the Matrix server, most of those. He hosts all of them. I've been your host this evening, Honky Magoo, and I just want to throw it out there that as I have for the last several years, we are going to do the Hacker Public Radio New Year's Eve show again. I gotta set up the streaming. I gotta figure out a streaming server again, but
Icecast.
So the laptop I was using for all that crapped the bed a while ago, and so now I gotta figure out basically reset it up on a different one. That's all.
You're fucking kidding me.
So again, Hacker Public Radio New Year's Eve show. It's going to be the same server we always use. Not this one, but the other one. All right. I've been your host this evening, Honky Magoo. With us tonight has been Joe.
Good night. Oh, and do you guys want to stick around on the Jitsi and watch the match?
I'm going to be here for a little bit at least. It's because it's early enough for us.
You guys go ahead.
Lovecraft.
Good night, everybody.
Minnix.
Good night, boys.
Morton Seaton. He's probably with us more in spirit. Well, he's totally on.
Oh, is he still on Mumble?
Yeah, but I think he's more here
Hola.
in spirit. Yeah. Netminer.
Yeah, you might, on the Jitsi, you might want to kill the recording when you're watching the fight.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
by the way, we're not
right
watching
now.
it. We're not watching it on the Jitsi, so.
Well, I'm just saying, just be careful you're not recording the fight and get into copyright trouble. That's all.
Oh, right.
Anyway, good night, gentlemen. And I'll see you in December.
Yep.
That's right.
And Courier.
Nice hanging with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Hey,
with
thanks
us.
for being here. And you're always welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not a very well put together podcast. If you just show up and start talking, that's very.
I mean, wow.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.